Good morning. It's September 15th, and as soon as this video is finished, I'll be halfway done. Before I get to today's book review, I want to address a couple of things. First of all, just in case you missed it, a new Books vs. Movies review went up between yesterday's video and the video the day before. If you didn't see it, I'll link the first part here. And secondly, I wanted to address a couple of things from yesterday's video. There were a couple of questions that, due to typos, I read wrong and led to a lot of confusion both for me and for my viewers. First, a question of Peter or Gale. I saw Peter and assumed he meant Peter from Heroes, and therefore Gale was some character from Lost, and a Google search confirmed this. But that actually isn't what he meant to type at all. What he meant to type was PEDA or Gale, as in the two characters from the Hunger Games. And as to that, I have no answer. Both characters have definite strengths and weaknesses, and they both have really strong character development, so I can't really pick a favorite. Then the other question that led to some confusion was whether or not I looked like the gay layer from the Modern Family. What he meant to write was the gay lawyer from the Modern Family. And after looking at a few pictures, I don't really think so, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to you to judge. That out of the way, on to my next favorite books review on The Bermudez Triangle by Maureen Johnson. This is another one that has become one of my all-time favorites. This is a story about three high school girls who have been best friends for years and years. Nina Bermudez, Avery Decker, and Melanie Forrest. These three make up the Bermudez Triangle, an inseparable, longtime group of friends now entering into their senior year of high school. They're also about to go through their first long separation from one of the members of the group for quite a while. Nina is traveling across the country for 12 weeks so that she can attend a college summer program at Stanford. During these 12 weeks, Nina meets this guy named Steve, who she eventually falls into deep infatuation with. But he lives across the country from her, and so upon returning back home, she has to wait an entire year before she can see him again, and that's only if they both get accepted into Stanford for college. Meanwhile, back home, Avery and Melanie are also dating each other. Now, the first place where I heard about this book's existence was on a Brotherhood 2.0 video from 2007. John talked about this book called The Bermudez Triangle, which was being challenged in a high school somewhere. I can't even remember where. And anytime I hear that a book is being challenged or banned from the school system, I kind of have this desire to read it. This book addresses the issue of teenage homosexuality head-on. Doesn't shy away from the issue, recognizes that teenagers discover quite often in high school that they are homosexual, and they struggle in many ways with this issue. And I think that as far as novels that address teenage homosexuality, this one probably does it the best for me. Will Grayson did it well too, but the thing that I really like about Bermudez Triangle is that it looks at the issue from multiple standpoints. You can see this especially in the three best friends, who each take a turn telling the story, much like in Key to the Golden Firebird. Nina is definitely straight. There's no doubt about it, she is definitely straight. She has this boyfriend, she really likes him, both physically and otherwise. She's straight. Melanie, on the other hand, is definitely gay. She has no doubts about this. As soon as she starts dating Avery, she is positive that she's gay, and she actually kind of wants people to know. Avery doesn't know what she is. She doesn't know if she's straight, or gay, or bi, or whatever. She's really questioning her sexuality. And so, of course, all three of them have three very different issues to deal with. But what's also nice about this book is that while it deals with these issues, it deals with them very subtly and naturally. It's not like it's shoving the fact in your face that this is a book about homosexuality. In fact, I wouldn't even say this is a book about homosexuality, it just addresses it. Just as it would be wrong to define a person by their sexual orientation alone, it would also be wrong to define this book by the fact that it happens to include homosexuality. In fact, the three members of the Bermudez Triangle fit in pretty well with pretty standard roles when you're talking about a story about three best friends. And what this story is ultimately about is this group of friends who find that their friendship, which has always been really solid and present, is suddenly on shaky ground. It's their senior year. They're going off to college. Nina's applying to Stanford, Avery's applying to music schools, Mel doesn't know what she wants to do, and they're facing the possibility of all having to go their separate ways. Things are changing all around them, and their friendship needs to adapt to that, and that's really what this story is about. In fact, this book begins in a very innocent and childlike space. A Chuck E. Cheese knockoff. And it ends with, as so many YA novels seem to these days, a spontaneous road trip. Not only that, but the novel ends with a real sense of uncertainty. These characters are facing multiple issues, not just the ones dealing with homosexuality. Nina's applying to college and having to deal with her long-distance boyfriend and that relationship. Avery's applying to music schools and is asking the question of, am I good enough to pursue a career in music? And Mel, well, Mel's journey is pretty much about the homosexuality, but she's having to deal with all of the reactions she's getting to coming out. And there are a lot of different reactions to her homosexuality, everything from supportive and accepting to outright hostile. And the thing about these issues is that a lot of them are never resolved. We don't know what the deal with Nina's boyfriend is. We don't know what the deal with Avery's sexual orientation is. And Mel has just come out with her parents and is going to have to deal with the ramifications of that and trying to convince her mother that she is in fact gay and no amount of going to see a psychiatrist is going to make her not gay. Sorry. The issue that is resolved, however, is the issue of their friendship, which was on shaky ground, but is now solid and very present again by the end of the novel. So it kind of has the feel of, no matter what the future brings, no matter what problems or issues we're going to have to deal with, we will be friends and we will deal with them as friends. And I like the fact that it ends on a note of uncertainty, because it's their senior year of high school. Everything ends with a note of uncertainty. Not everything is going to be wrapped up nice and neat with a little bow on top. In many ways, this is just a typical coming-of-age young adult novel. It just happens to include homosexuality because homosexuality is a very real issue for teenagers. Not only teenagers that are coming out or wondering if they are gay, but also teenagers who have friends who are coming out and wondering if they are gay. And this book addresses that issue and other issues across a broad spectrum because of the personalities of these three girls. Also, the book's by Maureen Johnson and is therefore hilarious. So if you have not read Maureen Johnson's very, very controversial novel, The Bermudez Triangle, I suggest you check it out. It's one of my all-time favorite novels. It's on my ultimate recommendation list. Go check it out. And the next book on the favorites list is going to be The Very Ordered Existence of Merrily Marvelous by Suzanne Crowley. Or Crowley, I don't know. See you tomorrow, viewers. The Extremely Ordered Existence of Merrily Marvelous by Suzanne Crowley. I hope I got that title right. No, I didn't. We each take turns telling the story, much like in Key to the Golden Compass. Key to the Golden Compass? Key to the Golden Firebird. There's an airplane flying over my apartment right now. Okay. Good morning.